Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Business Breakthrough with Barbara Show. Happy Monday, everyone. How is everyone doing? How are you guys doing? How was your weekend? I hope it was great. Mine was really good. I spent time with my family on Saturday. We went over to have dinner with Nick's parents yesterday. Spent a lot of time with Tila, who is my sweet, loving pit bull that I love with all of my heart. Yes, I'm a crazy dog mom. And what else did I do? Oh, I did a lot of scrapbooking, planning, and creative stuff. So that was good. So it is Monday. It's time for us to get to work. All entrepreneurs who love what they do actually love Mondays. I look forward to them. There definitely was a time in my life where I didn't, so I'm just really, really excited to be doing work that I love and that makes an impact in so many people's life. Okay, so if you're new to this community, welcome. This is the Business Breakthrough with Barbara show. We go live every single Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and I teach you all things starting, growing, and scaling a wildly profitable coaching or service-based business, right? If you are here, tell me that you're here. Drop me an emoji, like this live stream. We are going to be talking about why you're not hitting. Oh, hello, everyone. Okay, love that, love that. We're going to be talking about why you're not hitting 10K months yet. Okay, that's like the key word, yet. Because just because you're not hitting them right now doesn't mean that you won't. But as always, I'm going to get super raw. I'm going to probably say things that you never heard anyone say before. And I'm just going to give you perspective. I think that's one of the things that so many of you give me feedback on, where you're like, I love your show because it's so honest, right? Like, you just give me so much perspective because the way that I speak and the things that I share sometimes are not the same things that you hear or learn everywhere, right? So like, everyone is like 10K months, you can do it. It's super easy. And I'm going to explain to you why that is. I'm also going to, what do you call that? Agree with that in a way, right? Like, you can 100% do it, and it can definitely be easy. But I'm also going to give you perspective, and I'm going to help you create a little bit of ease and motivation and enthusiasm towards those income goals. Another thing I wanted to say before we begin today, it's like 10K is just a number, right? Like, it's an arbitrary number that I put there. Why? Because it's such a big milestone for so many people, right? Like, so many people are like, I'm getting to the 10K months, I'm getting to the 10K months. So I just put that number there because I know that's a big goal that a lot of people want to go towards. And also, it's a goal that a lot of people struggle with. But I want you to replace that number with whatever your income goal is that you really, really want, but you're struggling to get to, right? So like, you may be at 25K months, right? Like, you really, really want to get to 25K months, but you just keep trying and trying and trying, and you can't get there, right? Just like you may be at 5K months or 3K months, right? And you're like, I really, really, really want that, but I just can't get there yet. So the 10K is just a number. I want you to input whatever your number is. And everyone's going to have a different goal, and that's okay, right? That's totally okay. You don't have to want 10K months to get immense value from this live stream. It's really more about like that number that people obsess with and they struggle with simultaneously. Yeah? Yes, no, maybe. Before we begin, one reminder. I just have one reminder for you. Next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we are not going to have our weekly show because we're doing the Stand Out and Shine Challenge, okay? So if you haven't heard about the Stand Out and Shine Challenge, which if you haven't, I don't know how, because I've been screaming it out of the rooftops, it is a challenge that I run every year. People absolutely love it. It really goes into helping you stand out in the coaching industry, helping you stand out in the online world, and shining your light so that you can pretty much outshine your competition, right? Like the truth is that this world is a little noisy. There's more and more people getting into it, and that really is not a problem as long as you know how to stand out, as long as you know how to be like the light that people go to, as long as you know how to attract clients, and as long as you know how to uniquely position yourself in the industry. So we're going to spend 3 days together, and I'm going to teach you exactly how to set yourself apart so that you're the coach that, or service-based entrepreneur, whatever, that people want to go to, right? Like you all know like that coach that you're like, oh my God, like she just like stands out. Like I'm so attracted to her. I love her content. Like she's always piquing my interest. Like I want to buy from her. I want to work with her, and she's achieving so many results. That is because they know how to stand out and shine in this industry. It don't matter how big it gets. It don't matter how oversaturated it gets. If you know what I'm going to teach you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, you will not have to struggle. So there should be a link in the description of this video. If you haven't joined us already, join us. It is delightfully free, and it's just packed of so much value. Also, I'm doing a giveaway at the end, so you get free stuff from me. Now let's dive in. Okay, so there's a few. This topic actually came from a new client that I'm working with, and she's been in business for a while, and she has had 5-figure months, but they're not consistent, right? So this conversation came up when we first were talking about working together. And it made me think about how many people are not consistently hitting 10K months and how many people are not even hitting them at all. Again, 10K months being your unique income goal, right? So I kind of like wrote down like, why is this happening? Why do so many of my clients come to me like this? And how do so many of my clients end up on the other side, right? How do they come like wanting a specific income goal, struggling for a really long time, like months and oftentimes like over a year or years to reach that income goal? And then we work together and we get there. So I really took some time to brainstorm like, what is the thing? Right? What is the thing that's keeping people from that? And what is the thing that's actually helping so many of my clients do that? And that's where I'm going into. So the first thing that I came up with, first of all, just a little disclaimer, there are so many things, right? Like there are so many variables here. It's like impossible for me to cover them all. But what I did write down were like the main foundations that I see in almost every single person that I work with, right? Like every single person that comes to me and they're like, I want to get to 3K months, and then we're together for 6 months and like they're there or even beyond that. Most of these individuals struggle with some of the pieces that I'm going to share with you. However, there could be more, or there could be less, or they may struggle with one and not the other, right? So like it's impossible for me to encompass everything, but I'm going to give you what I see over and over and over again. Are you ready? Let's do this. Do you guys watch Schitt's Creek? When Alexis does her audition, she goes like, are you ready? Let's do this. La, 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 la. A little bit of Alexis. Okay, so the first thing, sorry guys, I'm like super energetic and I haven't even had my matcha tea. I think it's better when I'm energetic than when I'm not. What do you guys think? Yes, no, maybe so. So first thing that I wrote down is you don't even want 10K months. Don't close your window. Don't stop watching. Don't be like, what are you talking about? Of course I want 10K months. Because I'm going into this. So what I mean by that is a lot of times we set an income goal because we feel like that's what we should be having, right? Like, and it really comes from what we see other people having, right? So we're like, oh my God, I want to reach 10K months. I want to reach 10K months, 10K months, 25, 5, whatever that number is. And you're like, I want it, 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 right? Like consciously, you're like, I really want this. However, sometimes when I ask you why, you don't even know, right? Like it's just something that you have been conditioned to feel like you need, especially that number, 10K. And that's okay, right? Like, you don't need more money to make more money, but you need to know why you want it, right? Like, because that's what's going to ignite that inner motivation. Does that make sense? So, like, I have some clients who don't even value money as much as impact, or who don't even value business as much as their family. Totally fine, right? But if we want to get to those 5-figure months, or those big income goals that they're struggling with, we need to figure out why. If there is not a why, if you don't really know that you want it, if there's no reason to move towards that, trust me that the ups and downs that takes to get there are gonna make you like not want to take action, right? So, like, if you're like, for example, some of my clients are like, I don't really care that much about money, in the sense it's like they're not like millionaires, but they're like, that's not like a big innate driving motivation for me, but I want 10K months and I really just care about my family most. Then when we start moving towards those 10K months, this is going to be one of those lives where if I get $1 for every time I say 10K months, I will probably hit 10K right now. So I apologize in advance. But then once we're moving towards that goal, and guess what? You may need to spend a little bit more time working in your business and a little bit of time away from your family, right? So, like, let's say you're used to spending all Saturday with your family, and then because we're launching something to reach that income goal, you may need to spend like 2 hours working in your business, right? And then let's say we start launching, and then things start to like get a little difficult. Like, if you've launched before, you know that it's like a roller coaster. Let's say we're like going downhill in the roller coaster and it starts feeling really uncomfortable. Guess what happens? Those little things, right? Like taking time away from your biggest value, going down the roller coaster of launching, maybe hopping on a call and getting horrible feedback, like all the little stumbling blocks, as soon as they start coming up, you're going to be like, well, I don't really value this that much. I don't really even know why I'm moving towards this. So I'm just going to subconsciously sabotage myself in the way there. Okay? So that's why I'm bringing this up first. You may not even want it. And what I mean by that, it's like, it's not like you may not need it. It's just like you may not even know why you're moving towards that, right? Like, there's not a big driving, motivating force, okay? For most of you, I guarantee you 100% that if you made $9,500, right, like, you would be thrilled. But it's just like that pressure that we put on that specific number, okay? We need to know why, right? Like, how is this going to help us? Like, really be specific. Like, where is this money going to go to? How is this going to change your life, right? Literally, an exercise that I give to a lot of my clients is when we set that goal, whether it's 10K, 5K, 25K, whatever it is that we're moving towards. It's like, tell me exactly where this is going to. Tell me exactly why this is important to you. Tell me exactly why you want it, right? And when they take the time to be like, okay, well, this will go here, this will help me with that, this is what I will be able to do with this is something that I really want that it's going to help me get, right? Like, you start igniting that, like, oh, there's a reason, there's a motivation, there's a why, there's a passion, there's like a feeling of excitement towards that number, right? So when we're going through the ups and downs of reaching income goals, guess what? Even if we're down, you're like, it's okay, I have a vision. It's okay, I have a passion. It's okay, I have a reason to keep moving forward. Okay? So that's number one. Hi, Bree. Hey, Lauren. Welcome. Okay, if you're here, like, tell me that you're here. I say this every week, but I love knowing that you guys are here. It also serves me really well because I love outside validation when it comes to this show. Okay, so then after we go through, there needs to be a purpose for it, right? Like, there needs to be a reason why we're moving towards that, because let's face it, we are taking a massive undertaking, right? Like, if we are starting a business from zero to $10,000 a month consistently, right? That is a massive undertaking. And I think this is one of the things that's going to bring you a little bit of ease that a lot of coaches don't talk about, because it's super sexy to market like 10K months are like super easy and like you never have to struggle. And like if you pay me and you work with me, like it's going to be like the perfect thing and you're never going to have a negative emotion or a difficult time. Like it's super sexy to market that. And this is why a lot of people have coach trauma, because there's coaches who are not honest and they're like, this is like, don't worry about it. Like there's not going to be absolutely anything bad. Like it's just all going to work out. That's not the case, right? Like we're going under a massive undertaking of starting a business from scratch most of the time, all the way to consistently hitting $10,000 a month. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. That's not to say that we can create ease around it. That's not to say that when you have someone supporting you, it becomes easier. That's not to say that eventually, once you have a right strategy to follow and that you've proven it over and over again, that it just kind of like becomes a process that you don't have to think about, right? Like that does happen. We do work ourselves to that, okay? But there's going to be ups and downs. And this is why so many people get frustrated online, because they see all the marketing like, it's so easy and perfect. And you like literally, like you just have to do what I did and like you will never ever struggle. And that's not true, right? You will come across a block or a disappointment or a difficult time in your life that makes it difficult to show up in your business, right? Like that is part of the process. And I think that's how you can create a little bit of ease around that, where it's like, it's okay if it feels hard. It's okay if you have days where you're like, can I really even do this? It's okay if you have days where you're so disappointed, right? Like I specifically remember times in my business where I'm like, I have 4 discovery calls booked today. Like there's no way that I'm not going to come out with a client. And I literally did not come out with a client and I would like tear up. And that is okay and that is normal. That no longer happens, but that is because I've built myself to creating a system that I can replicate over and over again. But there are ups and downs, and that's okay. That's what I want to normalize for you. I want to normalize that 10K months can get easy and they can become a total normal for you, but that doesn't mean that you will never struggle. Like there is nothing wrong with you if you have a struggling day on your way to your income goal. Like zero. There's zero wrong with you. It's not that other people know how to do it better. It's not that it's easier for other people. It's not that people don't like you. It's not like, it's literally none of that. Everyone has ups and downs on their way to their income goal. Any coach that you know, me, anyone else that you follow, they have ups and downs too. So there's nothing wrong with you, right? Okay, so then the other 2 things I discovered when I was trying to pinpoint like what are the things that helps my clients go from zero to the money that they want to make in 6 months, less a lot of times, a little more sometimes too. But what are those things? And the next 2 things are super basic, but also super important, okay? Last one is the most important in my perspective. But the next thing is strategy, right? So this is where you are stuck in a cycle of like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I should be focusing on. Or you're stuck in a cycle of like, I'm doing, but you're probably doing the wrong things, right? Like you're focusing on the things that are not yielding results. You're focusing on the things that are not helping you grow. Okay? So when it comes to strategy, there's 4 things I want to talk about that could be stopping you from hitting those 10K months. Okay? So 1, you don't know what to do. Okay? You don't know what to do and you want me to tell you how? Go to my website, book a discovery call, because that's what I do. But the second one, it's also you're doing the wrong things, right? Like this is where we get into like, but I'm doing all the things, right? Like I'm in every social media platform. I created a website. I did this. I did that. I'm creating graphics. And you're just focusing on the wrong things. Okay. The third thing is you may know what to do, right? Like this a lot happens when, for example, you listen to a live stream. Let's say you listen to an episode from a previous week and I told you, these are the things that you need to be doing consistently to hit 10K months. And I literally tell you, Here is what you need to do. Okay? That's where you know what to do, but you're not showing up for the strategy itself, right? And then the fourth piece of strategic chaos that keeps you from hitting 10K months is you know what to do and you are showing up for it, but you're not showing up for it consistently. Okay, I say this all the time. Inconsistent action equals inconsistent results. Okay, so I'm gonna recap that for you again because I want you to figure out like where am I at with the strategic piece of getting to my income goals. Do you not know what to do? Do you feel like you're doing a whole bunch of things and it's just not working, right? Like you're just not doing the right things. You don't have the right roadmap, you don't have the right strategy. You're just kind of like doing, but there's no real path towards that goal. Do you know what to do? Do you have a strategy? Have you like sat down and like wrote down, okay, like this is what I'm gonna do, but you just can't show up for it, right? Like you know what to do, but you just can't get yourself to actually do it. Or do you know what to do and you're showing up for it, but you're showing up for it very inconsistently? Those are the 4 ways that you're keeping yourself stuck from hitting 10K months, strategically speaking. Okay, does this resonate with you guys? Okay, so let's see. Hey, Barbara, your tips totally resonating. Okay, I love that. I love that, Lauren. I'm so glad that they're resonating. I know what to do, but haven't shown up consistently yet. Beautiful. Okay, so each of those struggles, strategic struggles that are keeping you from your income goals, have a solution. That's the good part, right? So, like, if you know what to do, but you're not showing up consistently, great. You at least know what to do, right? Like, now the work is to get out of your own way so that you can show up consistently. Yeah. If you don't know what to do, that also has an easy solution, right? Like we just need to create a roadmap. We just need to know what's the most important pieces of your business, what's going to be your business model, how are we going to get your programs and services out there, and all of that good stuff. So it's not like oh my God, if you are struggling with any of this, you're doomed. Not at all. It's more of like be aware of what is keeping you stuck in the strategic side, and then let's create solutions around it. Yeah? Okay. Then we move into the second phase, okay, which is the most important in my opinion, which is confidence. Okay? So just like the strategic side keeping you from hitting the income goals, the confidence side also has different layers. So the first one is you may think that you want 10K months, but you still don't fully believe that it's possible for you, right? Like you're like, I want this, I want this, I want this. But then every day you're like, but can I really do this? Is this really possible? No, there's no way that I can do this. No, I'm not worthy of this. What makes me think I can hit 10K months when my parents are struggling to make $2,000 a month? But I've never made that much money. Can I really do this? What if I do make 10K months? Like, what if my clients don't like me? Like, that is the number one confidence piece there that's keeping you stuck, right? Like, where it's like, you don't really think it's possible for you. You don't really think that you're worthy of it. There's just a lot of internal things blocking you from it. Confidence piece number 2 is you may believe that it's possible for you one day, but then the next day you don't, right? And I think this is a really, really big one. This is definitely something I see with all of my clients where they go into like, yes, I can do this, I'm the best, I'm amazing. Then the next day they wake up and they're like, oh my God, no, there's no way I can do this. I don't even know why I'm trying. I suck at this, blah, 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 blah. Now, side note on this, that's normal, right? Like we're human. We're not going to wake up every day being like, I am perfect. I feel no emotions. I have no struggles in my life whatsoever, right? Like it's normal that one day you wake up and you're like, I am great. I actually have a perfect meme to share with you guys about this. I'm going to share it in the group and tag all of you who are here. If you commented on this live stream, I'm going to tag you in this meme because it literally exemplifies what I'm trying to say here. It's normal that one day you're like, I am on top of the world. There's no like 10K months, please. I can make 100K if I wanted to. And then it's normal that some days you wake up and you're like, I can't even make $10. So what makes me think that I'm ever going to get there? That's normal. The thing keeping you from actually getting it is getting stuck in the low days, right? Like elongating those days, like letting those days dominate your actions, letting the days where you don't believe that it's possible, the days where you're doubting yourself, the days where you're letting fear get in the way, let those days become weeks or become months or become an excuse to not show up. That's the trick there. It's not like don't be a human, don't ever doubt yourself, don't ever feel fear. It's more of like, let's get really, really, really good at feeling that, processing it, and moving through it so we don't get stuck here and we just get right back up, right? I think that's why coaching is so helpful sometimes, because you have someone that is holding a higher vision of yourself at all times. Like as a coach, there's not 1 second that I doubt my clients. So when they're really low, it's really easy for them to get back here because they have someone who's holding such a high vision of them and helping them get back to that vision that they're like, even if they're like in inconsistent cycles, they're like very quickly rising up again. Okay, so confidence wise, and I see comments coming in, keep them coming. I will go back to them really soon. So you don't believe that it's possible for you. You believe that it's possible for you one day, and the next day you don't, and you stay stuck there. The other thing is you don't trust yourself or the process and get knocked down every time something doesn't go as expected. Okay? So an example of this is, I hate using launching because a lot of you probably haven't gone through like a full launch. But let's say you are promoting, let's say you're promoting your one-on-one product, right? Your program. And, you know, it's been a week and you don't get any calls. Whatever. I'm literally just making up examples off the top of my mind. Here's what happens. If you don't trust yourself in the process, after a week, it's really, really easy for you to be like, it's not working. I'm going to quit. I'm going to let go of the plan. I'm not going to keep moving forward. Okay. But if you can get yourself out of that, out of the menial day-to-day things that are happening, and you can get to see like the grand picture of things where it's like, if I promoted my one-on-one coaching program for an entire month, who cares if the first 2 weeks I got no calls? Right? As long as the process worked. The thing is, like, we're humans, right? So like we want things right away. So if we're like, okay, this month I'm going to book 3 one-on-one clients, right? I'm going to focus all in on promoting that. And I'm going to spend 4 weeks getting out there, really showing up for my strategy and all of that. And then let's say the first 2 weeks you don't get any calls. Naturally, it's really, really easy to be like, oh, this is not working. But when you can get yourself to trust yourself and to trust the process, then it becomes easier to go through and move through the entire goals that you set and not quit halfway through. Okay. So if you were able to like step out and you're like, let me step out and see what happened throughout this month. And you could see like, oh, that's really interesting. I didn't book any calls the first 2 weeks, but then the last 2, I booked a client the 3rd week, and then I booked 2 clients the 4th week. Then what would happen is you wouldn't care if things are not happening because you're trusting that the process will work out and you're trusting yourself to continue to show up for it. So confidence-wise, that is a super, super important thing because that's what's going to keep you consistently taking action even when you can't see it. And this is, again, just want to normalize it, guys. Like, I think a lot of times we think like, oh, I'm promoting something, like I should be making sales every day. A lot of times that's not how it works, right? Like a lot of times you're gonna have days where you're not making sales. That doesn't mean that the process is not working. That doesn't mean that you can't trust yourself that you have made the right decision to focus on that. That just means that it's part of the process. And the more that you can trust it and the more that you can follow through all the way until the end, the more money and result, the more money you're gonna make and the more results that you're gonna get. Okay, I have, I think, 3 more for confidence, but let me go back to comments. Okay. You can always start now. 100%. Couldn't agree more. What if I leave my job and realize I don't actually like this? That's a big excuse for me. Yes, it ebbs and flows. Love this. Okay. So, what if I leave my job and realize I don't actually like this? I mean, there's just so many ways to go around it, right? And to navigate that and to move through it, right? So, first of all, you can do thought work around it, right? Like you can do confidence work around it where it's like, okay, cool, that's a thought. I understand that I have that fear, but I'm not going to let that fear stop me. I'm not going to let that excuse get in the way. Like that's a lot of internal work that you could do. Also, you could try it out while you're at your job and see how it works. I think this is more of like a personal decision, right? Like this is what I would suggest for this specific example. I would like for you to decide if this is something that you want to move through, right? Like, do you not want to let this thought get in the way? Do you want to shift the way that you're thinking? Do you want to shift the fear? Do you want to move through the fear and just go for it, just do it? Or do you want to listen to that thought as maybe a way to move forward in a way that works for you, right? Like maybe you really do like your job, right? So like, do you want to maybe try it out and see how it works? Like, I think this is a matter of deciding which route am I going to take? Am I going to take the route of I'm not going to listen to this thought, right? And I'm going to go all in. Or do you want to take the route of like, this thought is interesting. Perhaps I could do it this way, in a way that serves me, in a way that suits me. Yeah? I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll come back here and I'll let you know. Brianna says, I love this. Love you, Bri. Happy that you guys are loving it. Okay. Number 4 for confidence. You let outer things control your actions, feelings, and emotions. Okay? And I say you, but really everyone does this. Meaning, you woke up, you had a really bad day with your partner. You were fighting all day, right? And that leads you to not showing up that day. That leads you to not getting visible. That leads you to canceling a call. That leads you to not creating content. That leads you to not working in your business. That's a very basic life example, right? Or you wake up, you had your first sales calls ever, and the person is like, yeah, cool, that's like really awesome, but like I really just don't want to work with you right now. So outer things are controlling your actions. Okay. If someone says that they don't want to sign up with you, that controls how much you show up or how much you doesn't. If you wanted to get 10 people in your email list today and you only got 1, that controls how much you show up and how much you don't. If you had a really rough day with your kid, that controls how much you show up for your business or you don't, right? So like this is a really big thing where it's like outside things are always going to happen. People are always going to be pissing us off. We're always going to have days where we're sad. We're always going to have disappointments happening here and there, right? And if we get into the habit of letting outside circumstances control what we do or don't do in our businesses, guess what? Then our business success is not up to us anymore. Because that means that everything happening outside of us, whether it's a disappointment in sales, whether it is a personal struggle, is controlling how much we show up for our goal. Now, as always, here's a side note. You're a human. You're definitely going to have a day where you're like, I need a day for myself, right? Like I've had a really rough week. I want to take a day to take care of myself, to get myself back into the mindset. Totally normal. But if that becomes a habit, right, where it's like every other day you're like, oh, well, this outside thing is controlling my actions. This outside thing is controlling my actions. This outside thing is controlling my actions. Then reaching 10K months is going to be a little bit harder, right? Or may take a little bit longer. Here's the 5th one, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. You don't even really care to make 10K months. I'm going to give you an example here. I have a client who has a 6-figure corporate job, right? And her goal was to quit her business. And for a really long time, she thought that she needed to hit 10K months. But then when we thought about it and we actually did some brainstorming, she didn't. Like literally all she needed to replace her income was like a little bit over 8,000. So it goes back to like that initial thing where it's like you may not even really care for it. And that's okay. You may not even want that income goal. That income goal may not be something that excites you. Okay, so I want you to pick that number that's like a little scary, but also exciting for you. Not just a number that like every coach is telling you that you have to make in order to be worthy of being in business. So dumb. It actually keeps you from achieving and it makes things take longer. Because if you were to focus on that number that feels really good and exciting to you, right, which totally could be 10K months, right, like that could be the thing for you, you would move towards that faster. And once you get there, it will be easier to keep scaling, right? Because you're like, oh, cool, I could do this. Now let me get excited about something else. But figure out what you actually want to be making, okay? Not what people are telling you that you should believe that you should be making. Yeah? Okay. And this is the most important one. I know I keep saying this, but this one is very important. You think you want 10K months, but are resisting the trade-off. Okay? Everything in life is a trade-off. Okay? Everything. Literally everything in life is a trade-off. Examples. If I lose weight, the trade-off is that I'm going to have to say no to eating too much chocolate. Eating chocolate every day. If I am in a long-term committed loving relationship, that probably means that I can't go out clubbing every weekend. Or personally, it's just not something that I want. So like that's the trade-off. Or if I'm single and going out every weekend, this is the conversation I had with my best friend. That's why it's coming up. But if I'm single and I'm going out every weekend, the trade-off is that you're not in a long-term committed relationship, most likely. These are just life examples, right? If I spend $500 in stickers to do scrapbooking this month, the trade-off may be that I may not get myself something big next week. Whatever. Everything you do is a trade-off. Everything. So, getting to 10K months consistently has a trade-off. Okay? It has many trade-offs. It may mean, like the example that I was talking about previously, it may mean that you may need to work 2 hours on Saturday, right? Versus spending the entire day with your family. It may mean that you have to do things that you're uncomfortable with, right? Like get invisible, applying to podcasts, applying to summits, sending out sales emails, pitching in a call, promoting a call, right? It may mean that you need to get uncomfortable. That's a trade-off, right? If you're hitting consistent 10K months, you are consistently getting uncomfortable. So that is a trade-off. Right now, if you're not there, you're comfortable. So your trade-off is, I'm comfortable. I'm not doing things that feel uncomfortable. I'm safe. I'm happy here. I'm okay here. And the trade-off is I'm not reaching my income goals. And it's going to be the opposite, right? Like I'm reaching my income goals and I'm getting uncomfortable and I'm showing up more and I am setting boundaries with my time. Yeah? Is this making sense? Another trade-off could be that you may have to, hold on, let me think of a good one. A trade-off for 10K months. You may have to launch or promote your program more than 2 or 3 times a week. You may have to do it a lot, right? You may have to reach out to someone and follow up with them. You may have to hire someone, which can be so scary, right? Like you're reaching 10K months. You are obviously making money. You are obviously doing things. So that means you may need to hire support. So that's a big trade-off, right? Like your conscious mind, cool, that sounds great, I need to hire support. But subconsciously, that's a big trade-off because now you have to support an employee. What if you don't make 10K months again? You have to take a risk. So hitting your income goals have trade-offs. It's not to say that it's like super sacrificing and it's like the worst thing ever and it just feels bad the entire way. No, it's not at all. But it is to say that subconsciously you may be resisting the trade-offs. It's okay. We just need to become more aware of this, right? We need to become more aware about the internal things that are keeping us from reaching our income goals. Yeah? So, what trade-offs do you think would happen if you were hitting 10K months? For example, I'm going to give an example from this live stream. Christine, your trade-off could be like, well, I may not be working at a job that I love, right? Like I may be hitting 10K months, but the trade-off is that I may not have time to keep working at a stable job that I love or not love. I don't really know if you love it or not, but that's a trade-off, right? A trade-off is that you're going to have to take a risk. A trade-off is that you're going to have to move towards something that's uncertain. A trade-off may be that you will maybe have to leave a job that you love. And, the person that you sat next for 10 years, you may not see every day anymore because you no longer work there. That's a trade-off, right? So another reason why you are not hitting 10K months is because you are resisting the trade-offs. So let me read comments and I'm gonna leave you guys off with one exercise. Hey Stephanie, welcome. Stephanie says, yes, risks are important. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. First of all, did this make sense? Guys, tell me in the comments what you think, what you feel. Does it make sense? Does it resonate? Which is the thing that resonates with you the most? And I'm going to wrap it up with this. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write a list of all the trade-offs, excuse me, that you may encounter once you're hitting your income goals. And you're going to find that some of those are trade-offs and some of those are fears, right? Some of them is just a fear, like, what if like my boyfriend breaks up with me because I'm making more money than I ever had before? Like whatever. Honestly, like stupid stuff that comes up. Our brains are like super crazy. But make that list and you will start to realize what are the trade-offs and what are the fears. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I'll see you in the challenge. Thank you for being here. Bye.